Hello everybody, what is going on? I am Cellofish and today I'll be playing... what? You guys? Come on. Cello, are you gonna play a new game today? A lot of people are playing crazy new games these days, like what about Tarkov, or have you tried Warzone, or what about that new one, Starfield? Yeah, I think I'm good on that, guys. Maybe Starfield, but gonna be playing some Fallout today. I think you guys are really gonna like it because Fallout is a lot of fun. What, Cello, surely you're going to be playing the newest and largest and greatest Fallout in the Fallout series. Fallout 76, right? Oh, you guys, just roll the intro, please. I figure the best starting location for my exploratory mission due east across the Commonwealth will be my largest and most successful settlement. I load into Sanctuary Hills, and after ignoring my wannabe son, I am ambushed by red scorpions almost immediately. This is a rather uncommon occurrence, so far north of Boston in such a beefed-up settlement. However, these hair-raising foes were dealt with at full tilt, and after collecting their belongings, I head to my player home, a fixed-up version of the original pre-apocalypse home, and I drop off some of my belongings that I won't have any use for on my journey. I head to bed, dreaming of what unknown sights and places I was bound to see on my quest for mystery, and I wake up well-rested, and I bid adieu to the safety of my sanctuary.
So a ghoul walks into the bar. Bartender says, "We don't serve ghouls here." Ghoul says, "That's
Missing out on a halfway decent joke from good old Hancock, I run down the street. Ain't nothing like the smell of Brahmin dung in the morning to put this wanderer in the mood for adventure. And then there it is, the front gate, the point beyond which trials and tribulations grow increasingly more challenging as we progress. We cross the bridge, the silhouette of the Minuteman statue becoming more defined, and the expedition has begun. Now, this trip, and it's going to be a long one, is going to take me as far north as I can go, and then as far east as my legs will carry me. Well, wanting to stick to the original concept of this journey, I make a beeline right for the northern border of the world. I head off into the woods, getting off the beaten path and freeing myself from the preconceived networks of path and road that lead southerly. We've been there, and now it is time for further discovery. My first encounter is a weathered fishing pier and a trash can containing some bottle caps. Perhaps this was a park at one point, a place for families to enjoy nature's beauty prior to the inevitable. Walking further upstream, I noticed an active pump pulling water from the river. Following the pipe up the slope leads me to a large grated cauldron of sorts, with a yellow container that is vacuum sealed shut. A very interesting and out-of-place find. And if anyone knows anything about this, or knows what this is, please leave a comment, as I've never noticed it before. I head back to the river and continue northeast, finding a washed-up fridge with some money in it. The dense fog is certainly restricting my vision and ability to spot the unknown treasures of the Wasteland. Not enough to not see this unfortunate conclusion to this woman's story, however, another forgotten casualty of the Wasteland. Perhaps there was a house here at one point. It would explain the misplaced porcelain. I continue on, getting my feet wet for the cause, until eventually running into some mirelurks and dispatching them and their young with gusto.
Hostile life sign.
Once finished, I move on up the river, eventually encountering the robotics disposal ground, a place usually containing a sentry bot, I believe, but it appears I have already been to this location recently, and so we move on. Up the dusty trail, and at this point, as far north as we can go, we turn due east to uncover what mysteries the northern border may hold for us. And after walking for a ways with not much worth mentioning other than the true serenity of the Fallout Wasteland, crossing a railroad track, I make note of it as it would be another journey idea to follow it to its completion. Upon climbing the embankment on the other side, I notice the freeway overpass due east of us, and I make my way over. An interesting shack structure stands out, and I enter it, finding some decent loot inside, some potatoes in the sink, but more importantly, a bed, so I can sleep off the foggy weather. I wake up at 5 a.m., feeling the crisp, cool air of the wasteland wash over me, and I look over the landscape. I quickly realize I am a hop, skip, and a jump over from my outpost, Zamanja? I'm not quite sure how to say that one. This is another bustling settlement, however, and a beautiful spot for a rest from the cruel outside world.
Huh? Hope you ain't one of them synths here to spy on me.
No, sir, I am not one of those synths, as far as I know. Enough of that, we're moving on. And a good thing we did too, because my, what a view. Oh, I wonder what that is. I make my way over to it. Detecting some super mutants on my vats, I choose my moment of engagement very carefully. I creep closer to get a clear line of sight of my prey, and then I strike. I target the suicider first, as he more than likely presents the biggest threat to me. Well, these two are certainly taking their time getting to me, so I turn to investigate the building on the lakefront. A terminal? Oh my. These are water quality testing reports of the lake, and the amount of contaminants in this water is absurd. Certainly these readings are from after the nukes went off, right? And from June 1st, the water quality assessments are 3 times prior readings, and it says that illegal dumpings are the most likely cause. It goes on to mention General Atomics, Saugus Ironworks, and Corvega as the culprits. Oh my. From June 25th, repeated water quality assessment per department request. Containment levels have continued to increase. Recommend closing the lake, beginning formal inquiry, and canceling the mayor's fishing tournament. Lastly, from July 4th, the last Independence Day in the history of the United States reads, fishing tournament resulted in 27 reports of serious illness following contact with the water. 1 boat sank. Its 2 surviving crew members were treated for critical radiation burns. No fish caught. Lake Quannapowitt closed to the public until further notice. Anyways, these bozos are dealt with, and we take a closer look at this Lake of Sorrow. A place once filled with joy and laughter, now rests in its utter solitude. So, this building belonged to the Massachusetts Department of Natural Resources, designated to monitor conditions of the Lake Quannapowitt. And by the sounds of it, due to the illegal dumping of highly hazardous chemicals by surrounding manufacturing plants into this highly popular lake of leisure, it has become a place of death and horror. Meanwhile, the mayor ignored the pleas, resulting in absolute catastrophic failure. All of which but a mere foreboding omen to what would be coming in less than 5 months. Fallout sure has a way of bringing the world to life in a chilling way sometimes. We take one last look at this unsettling location. We remind ourselves of what once was, before moving on. I come across this very scenic tributary to the lake, flowing through what was likely a culvert 200 some years ago, meandering my way through a very scenic landscape that I can't help but admire. Which is definitely a mistake, because I walk right by a very pissed off and slightly glitched behemoth. I most definitely did not get the jump on him, and Codsworth was very quick to let me know. Thanks, Codsworth. Glad I brought you along. The behemoth begins hurling boulders as he floats across the ground towards me, and I realize I'm also within a minefield. Gotta love the Wasteland, right? Things are feeling just a little hairy, until I realize this is my house, and he ain't shit. I loot him for just about all he's worth before going to deal with my secondary threat, i.e. the minefield blocking my path from what looks like a building up ahead. Well, that went well. Ah yes, Recon Bunker Theta. We meet again. I believe this is where the quest, The Lost Patrol, takes you in its conclusion. We head on inside, but after already completing this quest, there isn't much that we can do here.
Just leave me in peace.
And with that, I think we'll just leave him in peace. Past the bunker and up the hill, smoke can be seen billowing up on the bluff. But before we can see what it is, these buggers come out of nowhere and ambush, and Codsworth and I hop into action. These guys can be pretty squishy. But once the dust settles, it is revealed that the smoke is emanating from a cooking station, and we take advantage. That is boring though, so back to adventure. We've traveled quite a ways now, nearing Lynn Woods and Parsons Creamery, heading down into another creek bed. A wounded beast runs from a fight with an unknown foe. We collect its goods, which just happen to put us farther back north where we want to be. Which works out because we encounter a pre-war burned out or rusted out trailer with some decent loot inside. Another perfect example of the little things in the world of Fallout that make it so replayable. Even today, nearly 8 years later, this game remains riveting. Ascending the ridge now, Parsons Creamery comes into view. A location that I have at least discovered before, but what lies inside could be anything. Raiders. Raiders have taken over the joint. We creep closer and engage.
Payback time.
Just chill out, asshole.
Damn it!
I am able to pacify one of the raiders, and Codsworth and I quickly dispatch of the others before taking a look around.
Don't shoot me.
Inside the back room, we find an advanced lock safe. Now, it's been a while since I've sat down and put some time into the Wasteland, so my lock-picking skills are a little bit rusty, so bear with me here.
That's it.
Once in, though, we find some pretty solid loot. Heading up the stairs now, we find a gangster cutout. Take that, buddy. And then, we are able to jump from this pipe into what appears to be a hideout for someone, perhaps, after the bombs fell. And we can scavenge what remains. With not much else to see at this location, however, we slip on out the back and head back northeast to stay on mission. After walking for just a little ways, we approach another collapsed highway structure with a raider or gunner settlement perched up on the top. We steer clear from the danger, however, in hopes of continuing the journey in peace, heading down into a section of road frozen in place since the day the bombs came. A Pulaski's nuclear protection on a budget shelter comes into view, resting in the midst of a knee-deep pool of water. We open it, but there's nothing inside. I take a moment to take in my surroundings.
Nuclear protection on a budget.
That moment of peace and serenity is briskly interrupted by a pack of feral dogs, and Codsworth and I must defend ourselves. And after collecting some meat, I continue on my way. Until I look down at my compass and, oh my, it's the Moby Dick of a level 64 in an 8-year-old game. An undiscovered location. What could it be? I try to contain my excitement as I approach the area defended by a horde of snoozing feral ghouls. I take out the 50 and I go to work.
Something is...
We were definitely able to cheese that last glowing one just a little bit there as he was stuck on an island, but after the smoke clears, I'm able to loot and move on, hopping from island to raft, making my way over to the unknown establishment. I take an uncomfortable amount of radiation for just one aluminum canister, but aluminum can be hard to come by, so you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. Once I'm finally able to get onto this little fishing pier here, I can then loot the suitcase. I guess you could say I'm not the most athletic Fallout player. I'm then able to swim around the back to where I'm able to get up to the cliff face and run towards the building. It appears to be a raider settlement, but it looks awfully quiet. And then we are confronted with it. We encounter some bodies of raiders. It looks like they were ambushed and killed before they could even move. How strange. I loot the surrounding area. We happen to encounter yet another body. This person looks like they were executed while on guard duty during the ambush. No indication yet as to who might have done this, though. Whoever they were, they certainly knew what they were doing. This looks like a precisely planned out attack. It looks as though there were a good number of raiders here, as they have been using just about everything they can find as a form of shelter, including these trucks. We find a room with an advanced locked door. The lock picking sure doesn't get easier the second time, but we'll get it eventually.
Nice.
Once inside the room, we take a look around, and we find a robot model, which is always cool, and some more loot inside a yellow crate. We also find the body of another raider, possibly who was trying to flee the scene during the ambush. We also find a small gated area in the back. I wonder what they were using this for. Heading back up to the front of the building, which I just happened to forget to mention, is the Macra fishing plant. We enter the security building out front, where we find another executed raider. It looks like these guys went down with very little fight indeed. Not much left to do, other than go inside.
Is someone present?
Since, not who I was expecting to find here. The Institute has long been destroyed in this Minutemen playthrough, so I guess consider this proof that the Institute isn't actually destroyed, I guess? I don't know. I kind of creep around, not really knowing where these robotic humanoids are in the layout of this place. We find another deceased raider and some good loot up here, though.
Odd. My scanners must be malfunctioning.
Hostile sensor rating detected. Sensors indicating concealed organic.
Appears to be nothing. Perhaps my sensors need calibration.
Heading on over into the room up here, we find a truly grizzling sight. Like, this guy had me do a double take, that's how bad it was. Likely this was the office of some kind for the fish packing plant because of all the desks and filing cabinets we looted. Once done, though, we hit our light and continue down the hallway in the room. Third time's the charm for this lock-picking thing, right?
Yes.
Going down these old stairs, though, we enter the room that was above us when we first walked in. That hole definitely looks pretty ominous, though. Again, apologies for making you watch this.
Sweet.
This terminal is a list of incoming and exporting products and how many and what kind, being organized by type of fish and weight per day. It remains as another eerie snapshot of a world snuffed out in a blink. I find a couple more raiders and loot them accordingly, nearly blowing myself up in the process.
The sensitivity of my sensors really needs adjustment.
Wait for it. Wait for it. A dumbass moment incoming.
Overactive sensors. Nothing more.
Overactive sensors. Nothing more.
Oops. Sorry about your body there, guy.
Are you attempting an ambush?
I have honestly absolutely no idea what those big explosions are, but we carry on, scouring every inch of this place for hidden gems. Ooh, they almost had me with that one. We head up the stairs we find in the back of the room and we come across another series of office desks. This surely must have been quite a busy operation back in its day. Well, with not much to do up here, it's time to take a leap of faith. That was after a quick save, of course. Not that I needed it, because I only almost died. This guy, on the other hand, not so lucky.
Hostile sensor reading detected.
Hey, I wonder what this button does. You gotta be kidding me. There's one right there. There's probably one up top somewhere.
Needs adjustment.
And I'm probably blind. And yep, there it is. And definitely just blind. And moving on. Please don't look at me like that, Codsworth. Don't say a damn thing. Now, we have descended into what looks like a processing area, and I would imagine it perhaps would be quite ripe down here. We find the skeleton of a poor man on the floor, and cautiously continue on, room to room.
Overactive sensor.
I trust everyone's still alive. What's all this? Thought you could hide from me? I'm afraid. Shall run.
Codsworth and I dispatch some synths while we're looting the area. We head further down into the processing plant, and you can almost picture the workers sitting lining the conveyor belt. More synths ambush us. Codsworth and I go to work.
Eliminating hostile.
I was just getting warmed up.
Okay, so those guys were a little bit annoying to kill, but remember how I was saying earlier how aluminum is kind of hard to come by? Well, come here, because it is everywhere. It is everywhere. More trays, yay, I can make so many power armor enhancements.
Hey,
Yeah, here, Codsworth, I've got a bunch of random junk that if I continue to carry will break my legs. I know you got that nuclear-powered thruster and all, Mr. Handy. And oh yes, 79 aluminum lunch trays. Thanks, buddy. We continue looting through some more cabinets. Oh no. Hey,
Got
that
it.
one actually went pretty well. I will say it is nice having the perk Fortune Finder because you really do find way more ammo and bottle caps. After hacking into this terminal, we are able to activate a Protectron. Cool.
nice.
Powering up. Protectron.
I always find it worth it to activate those guys because who knows, maybe they'll take out a synth or two on their way. Continuing on, we find another terminal, and this one has a little more juicy information for us. The first message is titled Thermostat from July 30th. The message is from Dave Tulare about how the maintenance man discovered that someone bumped the thermostat up by 3 degrees. He goes on to say that that was the third time that has happened and they almost lost their entire inventory for the day. Hundreds of thousands of pounds of fish. I would imagine that temperature control would be a pretty high priority item. The second message, titled Nuka, is from Jane to Dave the day the bombs fell. He talks of the main lift being shut off, so they are stuck down there for the time being. He goes on to say he felt some rumbling and shaking earlier, enough to knock some shipments off the shelves, and she should let him know if she hears anything at all. He ends it by saying, a lot of concerned people down here. Dave. Truly chilling.
Hostile sensor reading
These poor
detected.
people were just going about their workday only to get stuck down here with no hope of rescue. A flaw in the building design? Perhaps. A true tragedy? Undeniably. That would explain the skeleton we saw earlier lying on the floor near the conveyor belt. Perhaps that was even Dave. In the back of this room, we find a Tesla Science magazine, making energy weapons permanently inflict 5% critical damage for me. This is easily the best piece of loot that we can find here. Next to it, an expert locked safe. Here we go.
Sweet.
What am I talking about? It's like riding a bike. I don't know what to say. We continue on with our scavenging, eventually running into some synths.
Commencing termination of organic life form. allies attached.
I heal up and I look around, finding some pretty decent loot up here. Eventually we head back to where we were ambushed while looting earlier and find an advanced locked door, which apparently I had a key to. Not sure where I picked that up, but got some goodies in here for sure. Oh, gotcha. So this chain door that I completely missed earlier leads right back to where that elevator room is. So we're really opening this place up. Nice. And now we're back to where we were ambushed earlier, near that one terminal with all that juicy information. And we can head up here and eventually find another room. This is that advanced lock door that I have the key to. Not really sure where the hell I picked that up, but saved me some lock picking. I head down a rather eerie stairwell and come into a hidden little room above the area we entered the packing plant. Finding a novice locked tool chest that I struggle with far more than either the export or the advanced that I previously did. Pretty average chest loot in here though.
That's it.
My desk has been locked through.
I continue down this creepy and dusty hallway and eventually run into another skeleton. Likely this was one of the workers that was also trapped here. Next to her on the ground is a first aid kit. We head back out onto another catwalk. And this one happens to drop us right back down into the area with the shipping elevator. So, we make our way over and head back up.
Sensors available. I will find you. They were wise to flee.
Heading back up, I feel very satisfied that I found everything that I hoped I would down here. Upon coming up though, we are ambushed by the remaining synths. Failure indeed. Once dispatched, though, I head for the exit, looking for whatever adventure we may find next. We are immediately met with an entire platoon of things. They killed me! These mini Terminators actually killed me, and I think it's fair to say that the Institute is not dead. I am dead. This time I played a little safer and actually heal myself. Things get insanely hairy again though, so I just run and swim away as fast as I can. Yeah, they're kind of just not worth the time. Macrofish packing, ladies and gentlemen, there it is. I want to personally thank you for joining me on part 1 of this expedition. There will be a part 2 to this, as we're only about halfway across the Commonwealth at this point, maybe even less. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe if you feel as though this video deserved it. And I know at least I learned quite a lot on this editing journey I undertook here. And I want to thank you for being part of that journey today. And after all that, have a fantastic day.